Welcome to a new episode of the Advancing Consciousness series with Franco Di Nicola. This is a place where people can come to gain further insight and clarity as to what is going on and how we can shift things on a personal and global level, while also accessing higher levels of consciousness and awareness. We bring this series to you free of charge so that many are able to access this information. However, if you resonate with what Franco shares and you would like to support his work, contributions are welcomed and greatly appreciated. A link is in the description and will be provided in the chat if you feel guided to do so. Also, we have many previous workshops, such as a couple of our most recent, Maneuvering with Neutrality and Alignment during this next wave of unfoldments, and Deprogram Clearing Empowerment Workshop. You could also join us in our membership program, Let's Talk About You, where like-minded people come together bi-weekly to talk about the topics requiring deeper understanding and clarity. All of these are available on Teachable, and we encourage you to check them out as they are great resources at very affordable prices to assist in better understanding this human experience. The Teachable link will also be provided in the chat and description. And lastly, don't forget to share. As the more of us coming together and creating a shift in oneself, the more effective it'll be to shift things globally. Thank you for joining us and being part of the change. Enjoy today's broadcast.
So welcome everybody to another episode of Advancing Consciousness series. Today we're going to be playing with episode 69, and we're going to be taking a look at our beautiful topic, seeing beyond your current state to live your new reality. People are waiting and looking forward to this new reality, a reality outside of what we've been experiencing up to this point in time. But what does it entail? How do we work through it? How do we even support each other to go through it and whatever else? And how do we actually go through the whole process of actually shifting our reality? Now, interestingly enough, we're shifting realities all the time. And the thing is, because we have set patterns for various realities, because the patterns also create a familiarity so that whenever we're switching our reality, we don't notice it. Not as much because it looks very much so. But our reality shifts not only in our state that we're feeling, it shifts in whatever we're engaged with, who we're playing with, what cluster we connect with, meaning if we're going to families or whatever, and we shape our reality accordingly. Now, our reality will also involve all the people that are involved in that reality, meaning that you're not outside of that reality, even if you're going in and there's already established patterns through the group. Say, for example, you're going to go play with your family, they have a certain pattern, but that pattern is specific to you. Even though there's a lot of similarities to their pattern that are played with other individuals, but it is always custom tailored to the different clusters that play within it. When you're not there, the game is a little bit different. You may think you know how it is because of your involvement at each of those times, but each of those times that you're involved with any of that, it actually reshapes that reality. It reshapes the roles each individual play. It also redesigns the energies that each party is involved in, and also what instructions you may give them from a superconscious state, because you may not be so conscious of it, from a superconscious state of how to engage with you, how to play with you, and what best serves you. And when I say best serve, it's not so much what people tend to believe. I mean, I know there's a deeper understanding coming above that or through that, but the whole idea, well, how could it be best for me to be having this majorly polarized experience when it's not, something I prefer or I choose to do it. But when I say that imperfection, because at times that polarity is what you decide. I shouldn't say at times, not all times. That polarity is necessary to create either a saturation of that experience or the pushing of you to bring forth certain old patterns, old ideas, old concepts, belief systems, labels, and definitions that you may have applied. So again, is the reality as that may. So we have our personal reality that we've talked about. We are in our own environment, how we relate with ourselves, how the reality you create and how you feel about and also communicate with your body, your human entity, your soul, your mind, and your ego, but also the reality around you in your space, your private space, for example. Now, people can have multiple spaces in what you call the private spaces because you have your private space that you are on your own completely. Then the space will extend a little further to kind of show other parties involved. Could be your kids, could be your family, your immediate family, could be your partner or anybody else, siblings or whoever else is involved at that time. So what you're doing is now expanding it just enough to bring other playmates in there, but that's still your immediate reality. Now, of course, you have your community reality, you have your work reality, you have your friendship realities, and whatever other realities that you may have if you're not sharing the same space, for example, a partner or certain family dynamics or whatever. So there's a reality established in all of those areas. So how do we change the realities? Well, how do we access those realities in a way where we're actually aware of it, and then without having any judgment or seeing right, wrong, good, bad about anything, saying, okay, how does this serve, first of all? Second of all, if I'm actually done with it and there's no frustration towards it or anxiety towards it or anything of that nature, and feels that you kind of reached a point where it no longer serves, then guess what? Then you can actually shift that in a very powerful way. So you just readjust your reality. Let me just adjust my volume here because I'm noticing that it's peaking. Okay. Sometimes I change mics, so I have to make sure that I have the mic that actually best suits it, the adjustments. Anyways, in regards to that reality. So today, we're going to focus on seeing, basically seeing beyond your current. And why do I say current state? Because currently you already have an established reality. That reality may be fluctuating and adjusting accordingly, but that reality has some form of pattern. So, and then we focus that reality and make that reality so real that we use the reality to kind of create more of your reality or support the reality that you're in. And at times that reality can seem fixed, or that reality seems imprisoning of some sort. So we can all have different currents of state, for example, in your current state, that particular reality, what it looks like, but then it's looking at how do we see beyond that rather than using it. So, like I said, you have your personal realities and all your extended reality and the global reality, right? So the global reality, every reality, like I was saying earlier, it shapes accordingly. So you've probably noticed, and depending on what state you are in, meaning how you feel, how you are emanating energetically, and how you are experiencing your emotion, will very much shape the reality around you, even the global setting. And when I say the global setting, you will see the world according to your vibration, because the global reality has many, many, many layers to it. So you'll notice if you're in fear and you're in concerns, or that you're feeling that all the stuff that's going on is chaotic and it has control over you, then you will see that layer. You will see that part of the reality emphasized, and the other parts of the reality are not emphasized. Even though they're there, you can't really see it to the same degree, and you won't interact with it to the same degree, so you won't have the impact of that degree. And I've seen it, and this has been done before, not only with groups that I've worked with, but also with other researchers, where they have seen that someone could be in a very low vibrational state and could be going through some pretty intense states, and then they would walk into, say, into the collective there, or in their community, or wherever they're doing, and they get to see how people are different, very different, or I shouldn't say different, they act a certain way. And they'll see there's a feedback of sorts where the interactions may reflect very closely to how they're feeling, in the sense they may have conflicts when they're in a state where they're sensitive to that or anything of that nature, and they will see the same people. And some of the experiments that I've done, when they walk away from observing, and for example, taking certain people that may be in certain environment where they're not, moving around or so much, they're just working in a certain area. And we've done the testing where people would actually go in, close their eyes, focus on the breath, get into a calm state, a connected state, and then go back to the same environment, say the work environment or wherever they were, and they noticed that all of a sudden people are acting differently. The energies not only have changed, but you'll also see the interactions will change. And then even certain things that were playing out before are no longer playing out. That's how powerful it is. That's how powerful you are to use every facet of your capacities. So this is what we're looking at. Now, this particular episode will emphasize an upcoming workshop that we have coming up on the 20th and the 21st of March, which is not this coming weekend, it's the following weekend, or in this case, depending on when you listen to it, it's still the 20th and 21st. It's a 2-day workshop, and we will be focusing on, and if you can put that up, the poster, whatever you want to call it, it's called Actualizing Beyond Your Current State to Live Your New Reality. So what is the actualizing meaning? Is to bring that into your experience, and whatever tools and processes that are required for you to become more active in your own self-awareness on how to actualize that new reality within yourself. which steps beyond your current state. Your current state is what's been established because of the experiences that you may have had in your life, and you have created those patterns, but looking at going beyond that. So I just wanted to bring that up at this point, and then we're going to follow through with the rest of the workshop, the episode. But do not miss the workshop. The link for accessing, getting information, and also to register for a interactive live stream workshop. It's 2 days, and if you cannot attend at that time because of time zones or because of other commitments, you also can have access to the videos and audio recordings, which will be all completely available after the workshop. Usually it takes about a week before it's all cleaned up, chopped up, and put into categories and so forth, but that will be available. The coming workshop will be based on a contributional base. There is a recommended amount, but you can offer what you feel that you can afford or want to offer for the workshop. Regardless what you offer, you are fully welcome to join us. The reason we are doing this is the second time we do this. We did that on the last workshop in December. We're doing it so that we don't want to create any restrictions for anybody that may be dealing with financial resource restrictions of any sort because of whatever is going on in their life. Therefore, allowing more people to come together. It is much more powerful as many of us come together and as many of us actually engage through the process, because we're going to be doing these processes together. Now I'm going to basically cover a lot of the things quickly through what we'll be doing, but this is an episode that is here to help you anyways, and as all the other episodes, even though we will cover some of the things that will be brought up in the workshop, but we're going to give you the information and everything else that you may require to set a basis within yourself. But if you want to explore it further, then you can join us on the workshop. Okay, so we're just quickly going to look at. So seeing beyond your current state. So the one thing is we want to extend further than what we've been experiencing up to this point in time. We are all in different states. Of course, here we are. Today's the 9th of March, and we've just gone through some pretty powerful plasmic energies that have been coming in. There's new energies that have just started again from that, which is actually creating a multiple frequency and multiple reactivation of sorts energetically to continue to support us. This is something we're calling forth from a collective scale, regardless where we're at in our state of consciousness or in the dance of life and how polarized you may be or not. But it doesn't matter, because we're calling it in together to be able to utilize it to the degree that it serves each and every one of us. Not only that, it's also changing and helping us to work with our organic matrix that we're involved in. Plus, it's also allowing us to basically dissolve a lot of the construct that we've created in the inverted old matrix, which we're still kind of projecting from our own old memories of it, but the inverted 3D and 2D. This is also changing the structures and systems that exist that were all created within the inverted matrix, inverted 3D and 2D. That means all these systems are being channeled, from governmental to military to educational to governmental, medical, educational, religious, whatever. All of these constructs that have been established, legal and otherwise, that are creating a transformation through that. Plus, it's also helping us, and this will continue, to dissolve some of the layers and filters that we've put in so that we only see the reality based on what we have adopted for a long period of time and what is still being reflected collectively. You will also notice something that you may have liked, for example, movies, music, and shows and things of that nature, or even stuff that you consume on the internet, or what we call online and social media, as you're going along, and many of you have already experienced, are also shifting so that your your time investment and your energy investment is shifting to the point where you are no longer having the same level of interest. Doesn't mean you won't involve in any of it, but you won't be looking for the same things that reflect an older vibration. So these are some of the things that are happening right now, and it will continue. And of course, we're moving forward. So seeing beyond our current state is looking beyond what we've already created, what we've experienced, what we've created as patterns, so that we can go beyond that and be able to now look at it from a whole completely different perspective and look at it from a wholly completely expanded state. So that for us to live your new reality, because a lot of people say, I want to establish a new reality, I want to create a new reality, I want to shape my reality, I want to engage in that reality in a different way, because the old reality no longer serves. That old reality doesn't even feel in resonance anymore or anything of that nature. So as long as you're still holding on and playing and putting a lot of focus in the old version of it, then of course it's going to be much more difficult for you to be able. So you have to see beyond it. You have to go to that state where you're connecting with that higher aspect of yourself. Because what is your higher aspect of yourself? That higher aspect of yourself, which is the source essence, or what we call spirit of essence, or spirit of source, be able to see that what we're experiencing, whatever realities we're playing with and have played with up to this point in time, is an illusionary projection, and it's an illusionary game that we've played. And it's not to destroy the game, it's to upgrade and transform, because we do get value out of each and every game and each and every illusionary projections of ourselves in physical form, all of these holographic layers. You know, we're going from that so-called polarization, the separation, and of course all of that is illusionary, but at the same time we're not putting power into that illusion and making it real. We did, and we enjoyed it, we had a great blast out of it, and we've made progress in what it had to offer, but now we're actually dissolving all of that. So the polarity, dark, light, right, wrong, good, bad, all of this stuff there, and the fact of feeling ourselves fragmented, and again, illusionary or otherwise, seeing ourselves as not as competing, but also not recognizing that each and every one is another aspect of ourselves. Because in bringing that oneness, which is basically a consciousness of reactivating our unity consciousness we call oneness, then we see each person as another aspect of ourselves. Now you will play the game very differently because you have a higher appreciation, and it's not a competition in the sense of competing who's good, bad, right, wrong about it, or who's better than the other. It's a matter of how to challenge each other to advance, but not a destructive mode or a competitive mode where there's a winner-loser, because everybody's benefiting from that experience. However, the next part of it with the unity oneness consciousness is to work together to really reconstruct not only our human reality, all of our extended realities, and our global reality. And why are we doing that? We're transforming all of it. We're bringing, because we're updating it so that we can have a different experience where we're no longer choosing, and we have made that choice already, but we're still moving through it, choosing to feel that separation, that fear, the struggle, survival, and all of the associated components of it, where things are challenging in the sense of feeling that we are all in survival mode, and that the fact that we don't put our time to really express ourselves and to really discover ourselves. Because many of us have abandoned really discovering ourselves or knowing ourselves, where we've put the focus is, I got to play the game and I got to survive this game, or I need to somehow learn how to play the game better, or something of that nature, which has served for 10,000 years. But at this point in time, we're way beyond that. So it's no longer doing that. It's discovering who we are, discovering our uniqueness, discovering our offerings, discovering our sourceness, and bringing that higher consciousness into our creations and realities. Okay, so we're going to start with the list quickly today without So, what can we experience, and how things can change for us personally and collectively by seeing beyond our current perception and state for ourselves and the world. If we are looking, and this is the choice we're making, looking beyond our current state of being, our current way of, how can I say, if we're looking at beyond our current perception or what we have conceived as a way of life, then our opportunities, our resourcefulness, our capacities expand greatly. And then it no longer is a form of rigidity which you have to fight and learn how to dance in between it. It's more of an open platform where you can now shape it. Now you can use your own resonance, your own access point, and use that as your way of shaping not only your own personal reality, all the extended levels of realities with engagements of other aspects of yourselves, but the global reality, which also extends further to the what we call the solar system reality that is combined with all the planets, our galaxy, and the universe. But at this point, we'll localize it. So once we see beyond our current perceptional state, then we have much more access. Now, there is support and powerful energies that we are receiving to activate, to stimulate that, because it already exists in you. You're already source, you have all of it there. It's just re-stimulating it, and at the same time, assisting us to break down those filters and resistance and patterns that we've established that we seem to have made so real and strong from a perceptual base that it's hard for us to move. So, for example, if we're looking at other opportunities to experience life, it's no matter of going, I have to work harder and I have to fight the system, or I have to, increase my education on how to play the game and so forth, to connecting with ourselves and seeing how it feels for us to see a particular reality. Now, that particular reality allows us to go into that envisioning state and using our creativity and our imagination. Now, I know people talk about all the time that everything is created and so forth. There is certain projected versions of ourselves, versions of realities that have been established as kind of a form which had the possibility for us to tap into. But the uniqueness that we're in right now, and has changed for a while back, is the fact that that is just there as a kind of a loosey-goosey template, but it's not there in a sense we use any of it. So does it really exist? No, because what's been created was created from a whole different state. The frequency and state of consciousness of the universe, of the galaxy, of the solar systems, and so forth. But all of that has been changing. So you can't have a rigidity and say, well, it's already been created. No, there has been versions of it there, but those versions are not for us to say that's where we're going and there is no say in the matter. Absolutely not. So we're basically creating from higher states of being. And that's changing moment by moment. And it has been that way for a little while now, because of the fact that we are shifting and increasing our frequencies. Not only Gaia, our bodies, our human entity, our soul, our whole planet, the solar system, and so forth, all of it is upgrading moment by moment. As high as we go in those frequencies, we are actually now using all of that as a capacity to create and shape not only our personal reality, but the collective reality. So it's not mapped out, nothing is firm. That used to be the case when we needed to create a pattern. And a lot of it was established when that rigidity of that inverted matrix, inverted 3D, 2D was plugged in. But now, even with the opportunity of certain openings and so forth. So a lot of the so-called predictions would be where we're at now with looking at a potentiality of a construction based on what could possibly be achieved along the way. However, that how it takes form, how it actually even, what part of it we use is free. Now I know a lot of people have seen not only predictions, but what do they call the things that when they are projecting forward, looking back? No. You know, that was written, prophecies and whatever else. A lot of these prophecies were kind of the construct that was put into certain things. Now, those things, because we hadn't shifted so much, they show up. But what we do with it and what is after that is really up to us. Because a lot of things that even were prophesied didn't come out, and some did, but it didn't come out at the time, or it came out in a different form. You were going to say something.
Yeah, I have a question here. What is the best way to respond when looking up to see all the chemtrails? I thank it and accept it, but no longer want to experience it. It pulls my feelings for the earth and its potential damage. When do you see the chemtrails coming to an end?
Well, the chemtrails are not as extensive as it used to be. It has stopped for a while and it came back again. It is really, the reason it's being introduced from a higher perspective is to allow people to still have a reaction to it to get to the point of neutrality. So when you can acknowledge that there are chemtrails, and you can thank the chemtrails for how it presents itself and have great love for it, but with that love, it actually transmutes the chemtrails, and it will change the energy that's been plugged into what it can do. And when you love it to that degree, and you also have appreciation and love for the planet, because what happens is, even if it rains down, which it will, because of through not only rain, but just the fact that they will drop onto the planet, that it gets all transmuted along the way. And eventually all of that will stop. Now, do we have a timeline of when it will stop? It's getting closer and closer where it no longer is going to be. But that there's still a lot of people that are giving a lot of power to it because they have a resentment towards, a judgment toward, and others don't even know what that it is. But there are a lot of people that are doing that. So by acknowledging, thank it, love it, and also loving Earth or Gaia, yourself, for being in that beautiful dance, whatever that may be, with whatever's coming down, that it actually transmutes every part of it, and it will not have the same impact as it used to, because those energies were basically to lower frequencies to affect not only our physicality but the environment and everything else. But at the same time, as much as that may be still happening to a certain degree, it is minimizing more and more. And the same thing with the effect with us is minimizing. All of it is changing, because the thing is, you have to understand, for it to be impactful, it has to be a certain planetary frequency that must be upheld. And that frequency, that construct is not being supported any longer. For example, even in the sense of what I was saying earlier, is with, how can I say, with anything like the systems, because that is kind of an extension of the system, weather controlling, and I mean, there's a lot of different purposes behind that. But the thing is, even that is changing in the sense of the instigators and so forth. So it's kind of a last bit play that's taking place. Go ahead, you were going to say something?
Going to say it's up to us to not support the frequency. So even when we see these things, we can, observe that they're there, but we're still going to hold our frequency as at the highest point possible. Eventually, there'll come a time where that will no longer exist.
Right. So there's two ways to hold that frequency, and one will be effective and one will be very minimal. One of them is to see it and then wanting to change it, seeing it and having an issue with it, but now you're trying to see it with love. The other way, which will have a minuscule impact in comparison to just acknowledge it, see it for what it is, thank it from your pure essence, because it's all a beautiful creation, from that pure essence, thank it for being there and extend the love that you are, which is basically you are love, to it, and then allowing it, saying, my preference is not for that engagement, but I love it that it has played up to this point in time. And then what happens is it becomes very powerful in transmuting it, but it becomes very powerful to get that message in that reality, so that reality will not continue to play. Okay? You were going to say something? Go ahead.
I have another question.
Yes, go ahead.
Quickly, from Karen. I'm feeling even less interest in connecting with the outside world, even though I was already reclusive. Is this a response to the energies we're moving into?
Well, the thing is, the energies that are coming through right now will affect us in different ways. Now, a lot of times what happens every time these waves come in, it kind of creates a shifting within ourselves. And a lot of times for us to fully engage with that part of it and want to be as effective as possible, and we still have a certain level of sensitivity to what we see and exposed around us, we will go into that enclosed space, meaning that we go within ourselves, or the fact that you want to interact with others less, because most of the time the interactions that you would have would be of a lower vibration, so you have that choice. I'm not going to go play that game. I'm not choosing that, because you'll feel that you want to step back and be alone for a period of time, allowing those changes to go. Now, what I would recommend, if you're feeling that way, allow yourself to be with yourself. So go into the state of connecting with yourself, connecting with your heart, connecting with your body, connecting with your human entity, which is in the gut area, connecting with that, and kind of map out what you're observing. Write it out. Let's put it that way. Write out what you're observing. See what the dialogue is. Ask whatever you need to ask. So the thing is, use that time for those changes to take place. Now, some of you will feel that you want to just get away from whatever is going on to allow those changes not to be interfered in any way, because of the sensitivity you may just still have in your environment. And many people are feeling that way. That is not unique per se. I'm not saying everybody feels that way. Everybody, to a certain degree, wants to retreat, wants to unplug of sort of what the game is, and allow the changes to happen so that their reality gets reconstructed within them from a higher perspective, a higher state. And that's kind of allowing really the time for that. But you want to ask yourself to spend some time to also write and say, well, why am I pulling away from society or whatever that may be? And yeah, you may feel that the energies may not match and so forth, but look at it and say, okay, envision yourself going out, even if you don't, or interact with other people, and see what gets triggered within you, because that will show you certain judgments or programs or patterns or something of that nature that may have a response mechanism towards whatever is going. Because once you get into a state of neutrality, you may not expose yourself to a tremendous amount of the polarized stuff, but at the same time, if you are, you're not affected by it. You don't even actually notice it. And then around you, the reality won't reflect it anyways. Go ahead.
Another question?
Go ahead.
Okay. Nina Soul is asking, I experience situations in which I feel attacked by strangers, drivers, store clerks, etc. Strange interactions in which I haven't done what they seem to think I have. How do I move through these?
Okay, so in situations of that nature, I mean, you have to understand, even when we have certain energies coming in that kind of want to create an interesting experience for us, in the sense of kind of helping us shut down or anything of that nature, which is not really coming out unless we're open to it. Because again, let me just redirect that. If you find when those situations are occurring for you or with you, and you know, it looks like it's happening to you because people are acting a certain way and they're reacting a certain way, or claiming that you did something when you didn't do something, or anything of that nature, you want to take those opportunities when those things come up to, yes, note down somewhere that that has happened. And then when you you're not involved in that particular situation right at that time, and you're at home or you're in a quiet space, see that event happening and see what came up for you, what got triggered for you, feeling that maybe you were a victim, or that the fact that you were being claimed to have said or done something, or mistreated, or what is it, judged, or something of that nature, or unfairly, the unfairness, whatever. You want to take a look at what the story that comes up, because realistically, those things are there to show us what is active in us and what we've carried for so long, which is like a definition and a label about ourselves that's now being stimulated by others around you to be able to bring that to the surface. There's going to be occasions where you're going to have that happening, but at the same time, because it has nothing to do with you or anything of that nature that even pays attention, you won't feel any part of it at all. You won't even notice it, and it's like you're fine whatever that goes on. But normally when you're in that state, you're not going to have those interactions anyways, and you will notice, like I was saying earlier, the reality actually shifts accordingly. And like I was saying, that example that I provided from some of the experimenting I've done with certain students, if you want to call it that, that in just creating a shift in themselves and going out in the same environment of what they would have had the same reactions to, the environment's different. The players are different. They're more courteous with each other, and they're also not having the conflicts that would have probably happened before. So these are some of the things that are shifting just by the sake of having a shift with itself. So you want to look at what comes up for you. If there's any feel of a victim, or feeling injustice, or feeling that in some way you're being taken advantage, feeling that you're being challenged or anything. Because once you see everything as just one, that you are all of it as this oneness, if you want to call it that, that you are in charge of the reality and everything that's even in the external reality. And I know some people may contradict that, or maybe not too happy with that idea, saying, no, it happens to me, or whatever it is. The reason it's happening to you is because there's a part of you that says, okay, I need to give myself this particular experience until I could get not only to a saturation point, but at the same time to be able to wrap that up. Some of it could have been from your past life, some of it can be from this current life that you've adopted ideas, perception, and so forth, and some of it may come from your lineage, meaning your family dynamics are handing down, and then you chose to take it on for you to experience it and transmute it, so that not only you're transmuting it for you, which elevates your state, but also transmutes for all of the realities and the lineage along the way. Okay? Cool. We're good?
Yeah.
All right. Seeing beyond is the very foundation to enact and live a new reality personally and collectively. It's the foundation now. It's always been, but it's the very foundation. It's the very building of your reality. It's the actual, not only the energy is involved, but we're talking about the building material in a sense. The consciousness involved in it is actually what you build on. So your reality, if you want to create a new reality, which people, all of us are feeling it very powerfully, then it is about taking away or letting go of the old version of what we have adopted as a perception. So if we're still focusing on the world that you see around you, your own personally and so forth, that is the building material you're bringing in to create your next reality. Because we're creating and shaping our reality every moment, but if we're bringing all of that stuff back in, the consciousness, the perceptions and so forth, and the beliefs and labels and whatever, because once you've labeled yourself, as long as you maintain a label that I'm not good enough or that people don't treat me right, then every step of that reality will carry that component, will have that in its fabric, will instruct accordingly. Feeling that somehow you're disabled or incapable because of certain things that may have happened in the past, or that you may have had even from a past life, you can use that as part of your building material. So you have to see beyond it. Because once you see beyond it, meaning that that no longer is the factor, no longer the attention point, no longer bringing that in, then you now can create brand new, because you're seeing beyond what you've experienced, beyond the labels, beyond the stories, patterns, and perceptions that you had before, and now you can create something brand new. And that means beyond what you actually see in the environment. You see in what the game of the global part. Of course, we never really see the whole global. We can sense it to a certain degree, but we see layers of our own communities and areas and countries that we live, and our race and our so forth. Even though we're affected by the collective, we don't see the whole collective as a wide scope. And it doesn't matter how much time you spend on social media or whatever it is, you have to understand what you're seeing in the media are versions of versions of versions of interpretations. And a lot of times you only see a fragment of what is there, and then it's built upon that. So really, unless you can travel all over the world and see what's really going on, you don't really get a taste. But then again, that is a reality. You have to understand wherever you're going, that was our collective reality's effort of constructing that. It has nothing to do with you. And if you moved in those areas, then you will be involved. But in your involvement, especially if you're in your true highest state, will actually facilitate the change. And that's why a lot of people feel that they need to move. You were going to say something?
Yes. It's Rachel, if that's how you pronounce your name, has a question, soul purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I had a recent shift and even felt my old self die. I have no purpose other than experience and be. Do some no longer have specific mission other than to just be and experience?
Well, the thing is, in coming onto the planet, we have already an idea, as a mapping of sorts, that this is what I'm going to go. First of all, I'm going to go there and play the game. I'm going to learn from the game. I'm going to have all the experiences that are offered in the game. I will shape the game. I will interact with other versions of myself, and so forth. Then you're going to go through that state where you're now that you've reached a certain point of experience, and you've got a baseline of understanding of that human experience. Then you will start activating other parts of it, which can be, at this point in time, shifting and seeing your reality differently and creating an environment accordingly, because that affects not only you immediately, but it's also affecting the different layers and the global. So as your energies adjust, because that's one of the things, is some are here to hold a specific energy, and that energies are launched more powerfully, much more, how can I say, specialized, depending on as the collective evolves. Others will feel that they will not only just hold the space, because everybody holds a certain energy. Some are for runners that will hold a more advanced energy, only to stimulate others to move forward. But also at the same time, we may feel that there's a certain level of expression, which could be certain interactions, taking on an active role to create a smaller community or a larger community, or to reach a lot of people, or to do it through art, through crafts, through technologies, through different ways of seeing life, through using what Gaia has to offer, and so forth, each one of us. Now, because of this powerful transition, many are going through what we call a void point. And that void point is saying, well, I came here to experience all of this. Now I'm going to crystallize and allow myself to align to these newer frequencies. And then I will look at what I want to launch as further purpose beyond just the frequency. Some will be through the whole time, just holding a certain frequency and enjoying the human experience. But when we're talking about enjoying the human experience, we're talking about elevating the human experience. That means they start to see life, feel life, express life, experience life, share life as a human in upgraded consciousness levels, able to reflect something beyond what the game we've been playing before in that inverted matrix, inverted 3D, 2D. So it will be reflecting something much more advanced in that regard. Just living life as the example for, say, even when you're not being exposed to a lot of people, is not only impactful for the people that see you, but also globally throughout, because you're establishing a new reference point of how, and the associated energies and so forth. Now, like I said, some of you may feel that you need to go out and share, teach, or connect, say, with the young people and be able to work with the young people or work with other people in different stages of their lives. Not as you're going to fix them, save them, or anything of that nature, but to interact with them and help them remember, helping them remember their grander aspect and to become more in alignment. But that you will feel when you're ready for the next stage of it. We've all gone through it. I've gone through it myself. I remember coming as a child, I knew exactly what I was here for, to do what I'm doing now. But at that time, it was not ready because humanity wasn't ready. That was 63 years ago. But at the same time, along the way, I had to have the human experience. And I created a major polarized experience with the interactions of others, coming through some pretty interesting, very low energy states of being. But it allowed me to understand humanity and create certain connections and so forth, where I understood the male and female version of all the different, cultures and backgrounds and so forth, to kind of get a good understanding of that. Then played the game where, I worked in the technology world, where I spent time doing mechanical engineering, and then started to do more of this. And right now it's shifted again where, even though I was doing sessions before, now I'm not. And I'm putting all my focus on creating more content and to reach more people in that way. But at the same time, rewriting the human experience within myself and with whoever I'm engaged with at this point in time, so that we are creating that higher state of the human experience, and also to share that. Plus, at the same time, the energies. So as much as I may have known, but I knew that I had to go through stages. Some of the stages felt really challenging because it had to lower a lot of frequency and reduce accessibility to even what we were playing with. So that's kind of the thing. So be okay with the fact that there's that void. Just stay tuned with yourself, and you will know what's next as you're going along. So there may be a point in time where you're just crystallizing, finalizing, making adjustments in your own energy state, and then whatever's next, because you will decide from a higher perspective, in alignment with your body, your human entity, your soul, your soul family, your twin soul, your oversouls, and all the other parties that you're involved with, what's next for you. Okay? All right. We already have in us, so we already have in us, and we hold the key, which leads us to an expanded reality. We already have that new world in us. People are looking for this new world. What does this new world look like? We all have a piece of that. It's like the whole picture, but we're focused on a part of it that we are carrying the key for. The new world already exists. The platform for it exists. The so-called organic matrix is already fully active. We are going through the transformation, but we are the ones that are turning ourselves back on to that true state where we're connecting to that new world. So the new world already is within us. It just now is being projected. How do we project it? We need to drop the old world. And I've talked about it in other episodes, so I'm just going to go through it very quickly. What is the old world? The old world is the life that we used to live, the attachments we've created, the versions and ideas that we've taken on, adopted ideas and perceptions of what life is about. What we've been seeing and internalizing to a degree where we use those as the foundational reality creation, meaning that was our foundation, that was our material that we were using. So really what we're doing, we're dropping our integration and all that we've taken on from that inverted matrix, inverted 3D and 2D. That means that you're dropping your history completely. And what I mean by history, the previous labels, the previous definitions, previous perceptions, ideas, beliefs that we've taken on, patterns that we have taken on, which all served before when we were playing there. It does not now. So for the new world to emerge through us, the old world needs to be dropped. And that's what we've been doing. All of these powerful energies coming in are not only helping us, and it's been for a while, helping us to let go of that old world, the world that no longer serves us, no longer not only matches you, doesn't match Gaia, does not match our solar system, our galaxy, our universe. All of the things that we defined ourselves and attached ourselves, including other playmates, could be family, partners, whoever. And when I say dropping the roles, the meaning, and what those patterns were at that time. So you could still play it, but you're going to play it on different terms. And then what happens is if there's now a match, those playmates will go and a lot of those other worlds. Now, we see the old world already still existing. If you take along all the media constructs, governmental constructs, educational constructs, the medical constructs, I may have said that twice, but the different constructs that exist, monetary and all the other constructs, including religions and whatever else, those are all old world. As long as we give it power, we give it meaning, we make it still real in our reality, then that new world has a difficult time to come to the surface from us. It's there, it doesn't go away, you can't remove it, but we can't express it, we can't illuminate it, we can't bring it forth if we're still associating with that. So with all the exposure, if we're still giving power to everything the media is saying, meaning the movies, the music, the different news, whatever else is going on, whatever is being projected in the collective, whatever is projected in our families or partnerships or whatever it is, and we give it realism as that is it, then that's still a lot of the old world. And this is why the energies are destabilizing those constructs so that we don't have a solid reference point. So even this year, being 2021, is the year of disclosure. What does the disclosure mean? Meaning that you get to see what is real and not real. And again, nothing is real, but at the same time, what is that's being played out that we are seeing from the old world and the part that has created and supported that polarization so that you could see it in its form and choose to not only acknowledge it, thank it, love it, but let it free and put it back into the field where it basically just becomes pure light, pure consciousness, pure energy without having a form or an effect in how we play the game. Because everything transmutes right back to source essence, what we call spirit source essence. All of it just goes back to that. So this is the thing, is the new world is ready within ourselves. It's always been there. You came with it already. And we hold a very specific key for your part, which leads us to an expanded reality. There's nothing outside of us that's going to expand anything. Yes, there's other facets of ourselves. They're all playing roles. There's your part that's playing a role. And that combination is actually expanding our reality. all of these so-called restrictions, all of these so-called impossibilities, all of these constructs saying, hey, we cannot have this or that, that our world still has to depend on, say, energy from fossil fuels, or that we still have to have a monetary system, we still have to have an educational system that teaches us how to play that old game, or that we have to have a medical system because our bodies don't function the same way, or the fact that we have to have one that actually does not focus in flourishing your health, but more of situating a compromisation. A religious system that basically doesn't allow us to look outside, but to follow the patterns that they've established, or the box that they've established, with a construct finite belief system that this is how it works, and getting caught up in faith and whatever else there is. I'm just giving you some samples here, or the fact that we need to have other people lead us and whatever else. This is the part that's all breaking down for us to be able to step beyond it, because when we're accessing this new reality and that or what we call the expanded reality of that new world, then those don't have any power anymore. You now use your capabilities to not only shape a reality, but to create a reality with ease, a reality that does not require restrictions, a reality that no longer is polarized, a reality that does not require giving yourself away, a reality that has to have sacrifices and working a certain way to earn your way through life. A life where you have the have-nots and the haves and have-nots. Those worlds don't. They were all older constructs of that inverted matrix, and the idea that we have to compete and take down other people or whatever else for us to flourish. Those were all old constructs, and none of it really plays any longer. So that's how the reality expands, and there is no restriction. We can change everything that we are seeing as a challenge now, as a way of destruction, of limitation, and that can all dissolve. Whatever lacks we created, which are exactly that, created, illusionary and all, will disappear. We will take it out of the equation. Yes, we may create certain steps so that we can use it as a bridging of sorts, but it doesn't even have to be that way. We get to that point and say, hey, we no longer. So whatever resources we require, while we require the resources, because those resources are within ourselves, and then, while that's required, we may create those steps, but it's not. The fact of, saying, well, we have this particular type of currency, we're going to go to a digital currency, or, a more equal distribution of currency or energy exchange or anything of that nature. That is all old construct, because none of that will be applied any longer. So there won't be any money. There won't be ownership, control, and whatever else. Yeah, you can be a steward of something, of a piece of land or whatever it is, to create an environment for all of us to share, but everybody will do that accordingly because that's in that state. And the whole thing about energy exchange won't, because each one of us are transmitting energy, each one of us are a contributor, each one of us will feel compelled within ourselves to offer and to be part in a free state, so that there isn't all of this other construct that slows down progress. And also the attachments to old industries, the old way of life, feeling that we need all this stuff to associate with, or that in some way that we have to protect ourselves from the environment, protect ourselves from people, protect ourselves from whatever. None of that will exist in that new reality, because it's not really our true design or template or whatever we've established, especially since the retooling of planet Earth 15,000 years ago. That none of that existed. That was all plugged in and that's what we're reversing. So in essence, all of that, we will control the environment. The variety will change. Is it because the sun's going to play a different role? No, the sun will still play whatever role it is, but the way we integrate the energies and the climate changes, meaning the variance in climate and whatever else, the way that the plants grow and all the other sentient beings on the planet actually respond will be very different. Will be in its natural alignment and in its upgraded version. Okay? All right. We're at number 3. There's 11 of them, just in case. But we'll have to go really fast. Okay. Shorten it up. Okay. You do this by visualizing it, feeling it, actualizing it, and living it. So, like I said, you have this new world in you. How do you get to it? You need to quiet the mind. You need to focus, go on a meditative state, go into an altered state, whatever you want to call it. Until you get really proficient of that, it's just basically making time for yourself to go into a quiet space and just focus on the breathing, get into that point, put your attention in your heart, and while you're doing that, start to see what comes to you and start to visualize that world that comes through you. That world will seem very different. If your ego mind says, no, that's not possible, thank you, I love you, I free you. We're not going to put power there. So what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to use your imagination, which is stimulated by that higher aspect of yourself. And the visualization is basically seeing that world within you in your reality, in your mind. Your mind's eye, they call it, right? So you're seeing it in your mind's eye. You get to see it. You get to feel. Now, some people can't see it, so you're going to feel it, how it feels. Most people can see and feel together, but not everybody. Just practice with what you get first. So feel the freedom, the ease, and the love that's exchanged with one another, feeling that there's no more restrictions, there's no more, and when I say restrictions, that we have to sacrifice and that we have to, survive or anything, but see yourselves flourishing, see everybody flourishing, see that part of you that's coming from your heart. You were going to say something? Because I know you have something.
There's a question. How do we bridge our free existence with the controlled reality of our loved ones when your spouse and children aren't there yet? And I'm just combining a couple of questions here. In terms of these new ways, we still need to transition into them, right? I mean, it won't just be one day, it's going to be different, or will it? So this... are we the bridge, or are we holding space? The bridge seems active while holding space seems passive. So that's from 3 different people, and just the general idea is how are we bridging into this new world, I guess, and
you're both. And when I say you're holding space, what you're doing is you're holding your frequency within wherever environment that you're in, and you're allowing that frequency to continue to expand and increase. Now, the bridging part that you will do is actually using that visualization in that family dynamics or partners or wherever it is. It doesn't matter where they're at. You already start to see it. You start to feel it. You start to live it. And by doing so, even though you're interacting with others, their interaction will change. Now, if the interaction is creating some triggers for you, old memories and so forth, you want to go and address that. Write it down what that is and take a look at the story behind it, because you want to clear all of that out, and you do that by first acknowledging it, thanking it, loving it, and then putting it into the field. So you do not wait for anybody at this point in time to get it or not get it or anything of that nature. You already are bridging it. Wherever they're choosing to be, they will be, in the sense. But the fact that they're in your space, because they're involved with you, they're going to be affected to a certain degree. So the bridging is you already starting to live it. You not only see it, feel it, and experience it, and live it for you. And while you're doing so, it creates not only an activation in the templates of all the playmates that are around you, but you're also like the one that's holding that higher vibration. As you're going through that process, your vibration increases. It actually triggers them. Sometimes you may have a bit of a resistance at first, but you stand true to yourself, not that you have to fight or the fact that I got to stand my ground. You're not going to, you're basically still going to be you, and you're going to be you with that frequency. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of having all of these people around us and say, well, they're not moving, how can I move, and so forth. But the thing is, you're the conduit, because you're the one that's taking the steps in that particular unit, for example, and you're the one that's going to visualize it, and it's going to assist them. Not that you have to change them, fix them, or anything of that nature. You're doing it for you, and you're already, just the fact that you're doing it for you is also transmitting to them, so that in one way or another, they're being affected and stimulated at the same time, besides all the energies that are coming in. Okay? So, you visualize it, you feel it, you start to actualize it, making it real in your own life, and you start living it. You start taking the steps in that way. Even though there may be a little bit of baby steps, but those steps get bigger and bigger and bigger because you start living it. You start seeing that part of the world, even though the reality may not reflect it immediately, but you will also notice immediately that the feel for it already shifts, so you're not bound by it. So that's the thing. And we'll play with it a little bit more in the workshop. Okay. The question is, are you ready to partake and experience what has been waiting to emerge from you? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Am I ready to partake in this? Am I ready to allow that new world within myself to come through, to emerge? Am I ready to give up the old world to let this new world come in? Am I ready to allow, no matter who's playing the game, not to affect me and allow me to be me, for me to allow that new world to come into play? And it doesn't matter, because even if somebody comes in and kind of plays a very negative or old world, you can still see it, and of course, if you have any triggers, you want to address that, but you can still see it from that higher perspective and see the dance that's going on, but you're not engaged in it or lost in it in one way or another. You were going to say something?
Another quick question. Mm-hmm. How does it work with children? Do you still honor their desire to play within the inverted matrix?
Yes, you do. You do.
But
okay.
You would teach them and show by example.
You show by example, and that's way more powerful. And not only example, you're not going to be telling them, you will be sharing with them with no expectations that they're going to grab it or not anytime soon. Could be instantaneously, could be whatever. What happens is, if you stay true to yourself with your interaction with the kids and what you're creating an environment. Because the thing is, if you say, okay, do what I tell you to do, but don't look at what I do, that is not a powerful transformative state. But if you're already living that new world, because you're plugging in and establishing in your world, and you respect them at what they're at, but you're sharing information or sharing your experience with them, then allow them to do that. And I remember doing that with my kids, because basically what I did is I shared with them the consciousness or whatever it is, and allowed them to make their own choices. And of course, a lot of it, because so much of it resonated for them where they're at, they utilized a lot of it. They utilized all of it? No, of course not. But at the same time, they utilized whatever it is. But at least, and they were exposed to a parent that was completely opposite, and also two layers of family dynamics that reflected that old world. It didn't matter, because there was also that other beacon of light, if you want to call it that or whatever, that demonstrated something different, that created an environment that was different. So then it was their choice which direction they went. Go ahead.
Okay, Anna's asking, how would it be in the case of parents who massively trigger us?
So what do you do when your parents are massively triggering you?
Oh, that's a beauty.
I've been in zero pointing, but it seems to stay. What do you do in such a situation?
Okay. So they are powerful, powerful gifters for you. Believe it or not. If they trigger you, then what they're doing is they're following the instructions that you have provided from a superconscious state. They may have certain stuff that they're sorting out and certain programs and patterns that they may have, but the moment you feel triggered, you want to acknowledge that trigger. You definitely, please write it down. Write down what the trigger is, what they may have said, or how they acted, or what the environment is, and what's happening with you. What is coming up for you? What are you feeling? What patterns being triggered? What response is being triggered? What perception, belief system, or something that's being triggered? And write that down too. Write it all out. What is being triggered? Because the thing is, your parents are there to assist you, even though they don't seem conscious of it because it's coming from a superconscious level, to bring forth and trigger within you all of your old patterns and all of your inverted 3D, 2D, inverted matrix construct. That means they're showing you the old world. Because I can tell you one thing, when you are clear of those programs, you can say, okay, I'm going to go to 0 point, I'm going to go to neutrality, I'm going to go into oneness, that's great. But if something shifts you away from that, then you want to see what that is, because that is still active and alive. And it's only wanting your attention, so for you to go in and address it. Meaning, first of all, acknowledge it, go into a deep appreciation. And yes, the appreciation is for the experience, for whatever the trigger is. The appreciation is also for the parents, for the role that they played. And then go through a state of complete love and then just put it in the field. But you want to dissect it, well, I shouldn't say dissect, expand what the trigger is all about. So the thing is, be thankful, be excited about the triggers, because those are awesome. Okay, we are being called from every part of our beingness to step into our true empowered state and live our new way of life. We're feeling it. All of us, to some degree or another, are feeling it. Some of us are feeling it stronger and stronger. To be your true, genuine self. To go into that empowered state. No longer playing disempowered. No longer playing with the old world. No longer feeling that others have power over us. Because that's never been the truth. We've adopted the idea of it. We've created and built a reality around that. But that was just that. We just temporarily took that on while we were experiencing the inverted stuff and the polarized stuff, the separated stuff, all illusionary part of the game. Okay. Let's see, where's the other one? Okay, let's move on over. Yes. All right. So the signs are all around us besides what we are feeling within. What do I mean by that? Whatever we're feeling in us, we're also seeing the signs around us. What do we see? People reacting. You see systems going crazy. You see emphasized polarity, emphasized restrictions, emphasized craziness, meaning people acting out in various ways and making no sense of what life is going on. Why? It's emanating, showing us that old world that is ready and ripe to be released, or basically cleared out. So it's not only the screaming we feel inside of us, it's all around us. Don't think that the world is falling apart. It is looking that way. It is pushing us to bring up stories, programs, belief systems, but it's also showing us that that does not relate or resonate to us any longer. So the signs are around us. You cannot deny that this last year and this year so far have not made an impact of some sort in a powerful way all around us, and it's globally, and it's all there for us to say, okay, I see it, I acknowledge you, I thank you, I love you, and I free you, I clear you, I put her in the field. So all of that is coming to the surface right now. So these are all the signs around. You are here and you are here and have gone through all the preparation to partake. Time to set up and live. Look at how much you've experienced. Kimberly, you must have experienced a couple of things in your life. From the time you arrived till now, we've had lots of experiences, lots of polarity, lots of separation, a lot of different driven invertedness of our experience. But not only did we gain all of that, we've learned from it. We've gone through many stages of preparation, and we're still going through preparation. We're getting assistance from all levels at this point in time. We've been preparing that preparation so that we can partake. Now, some people are partaking unconsciously, but you're partaking more of a conscious state because of the fact that you are now noticing and seeing all of these things happening and all of these things that are playing out with you so that you can step it up. So it's time to set up and live. Live that new reality and step it forth. Go ahead.
Okay, Anna's asking, how do we connect the bridge between seeing and feeling while manifesting? Some of us are good visualizers but can't do the second step of feeling.
Okay, so if you're good in visualizing, allow yourself to visualize. And then when you're visualizing and seeing it, see yourself in that vision. When you see yourself in the vision, spend a little bit of time in the vision, seeing it actually playing out in your mind's eye. And then just shift the attention to see how you feel in that vision. It's like you bring your attention and reality in the vision. The more you practice it, the more you will feel it. Okay? If you feel something negative, then you want to really address, because that may be still an old link, and you want to write that down once you get out of it, of what's there so you can address it. But at the same time, just allow your envisioning that whole experience to be, and then while you're doing so, while you're having that experience, see yourself in it. So if you're seeing that world, see yourself interacting with that world. And then you will have a sensation of some sort. You will have a feel for it. Go ahead.
I was going to suggest that, you bring it into your heart center and feel it from a loving space of how much you would love that visualization that you're seeing, feel it on that level. That would bring love to you.
Are you on?
I don't. Oh, it keeps going off.
Is it?
Is it on now?
Yes.
Okay. Just bringing into your heart center and feeling the love behind the visualization as I will.
It's off again.
Okay, it keeps turning off.
Okay. Hold on a sec. Oh, the battery might have. Hold on. Here, try that one, and just give me a second. Just sorting out a minor technology thing. Okay, try now.
Okay, good?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I was just saying, when I'm doing a visualization of something, I will feel the love behind the visualization. So I want to create a center, so I love the center. So I infuse my visualization with the love from my heart of how I would love to create that. So that could be a good start.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you're involving your heart into it, in the sense, you can feel the more expanded feel for it, because it will trigger also joy and excitement, because there's a heartfelt resonance of that experience. So it starts with the visualization, and some people just, do the imagination, may not be able to see it, but feel it. Allow yourself to feel it, and then you can also expand from that feeling to visualization. So it could be both parts. And, eventually you'll be able to do both very easily. Just because you cannot see other energies does not mean you cannot visualize that experience. That would be an idea that, we're holding on to that doesn't really serve. Okay, so it's time to leave it. Our current external world can seem somewhat overwhelming, distracting, full of anxiety, fear-filled, but we know at a more conscious level that only the ego is doing the reacting. How true is that? That's probably bogus, right?
It's very true.
No. It's true, absolutely. When we feel it within ourselves, when we're tuning in from a heart perspective, from every aspect of yourself, the body may have a little bit of reactions only because of some old patterns that may be locked up in there, but it does not react. Neither does the human entity or the soul. The only thing that likes to react is the ego. Why would it react? Because the ego wants to react in a fashion to keep you from moving forward or to stay in that old pattern. So regardless what the world is showing, and we may be feeling overwhelmed, distracted, anxiety, fear, but that's all in the ego only. It's right here. Only ego. So if you feel that reaction, you feel that fear, you feel whatever's going on by seeing the world, you know who it is. Just the ego. It's a software program that wants to keep you in that inverted 3D, 2D world. So you're going to recognize it. Oh, I'm reacting. Oh, I can see myself feeling a certain way. Guess what? It's my ego having a little conniption. And okay, what do we do from here? And what shifts? It's you. Okay, I'm going to shift. This is why when you quieten the mind and you shift away from the ego's little dialogue or stimulation and you go to the heart, everything calms down. There is no anxiety, there is no fear. It knows what it is. It knows that it is the creator, its own creation, observer of creation, and it can shift any reality, and it's just here to have a blast, here to play, here to transform, here to create a new reality. That's all. Okay. As much as we have had our share of fun in our experience thus far, it is time for us to tap into our unique human resources. We've played with restricted resources, thinking that the resources come out of us, or that we have to learn how to use resources, or we don't have any of these resources. We don't have, first of all, creativity, and if we do, only some of us do, or something of that nature. We've played that game, the game of restriction, the game of not having those resources. But the thing is, as much as that was a blast, our human resources are amazing. We have resources that we haven't even tapped into. Our human body, our human entity, our soul combined, creating that overall mind state, has such potential, such power, such capacities that we are just starting to turn on. And this is what we need to understand. We know that within, that we haven't used anything. We can shape everything. We can influence every part. And we don't have to be trained. All we can do is learn how to deprogram from all that other stuff and to exercise and practice our skill sets, our true skill sets that within us. So sometimes we will go and work with other people, for example, I'm just giving you an example, where we actually harness our own skill sets that we've kind of put in a dormant state to have that so-called inverted matrix world. So we haven't even tapped the human resources. Now you can turn around and say, look, we've been conditioned, programmed, and adopted the belief that we somehow can only use a very small amount of our resources, and the resources are kind of dictated how to use. Look at the energy we put in doing what we do. Energy of going to work, energy of playing the survival game and so forth, and competition and whatever else. The amount of energy and resources of how to terminate other aspects of ourselves. Because we've been conditioned to do that, and we adopted those conditions for a period of time. But the thing is, as we turn all of that stuff off, we actually use our capacities to create a different environment that is really harnessing our skill sets and so forth. Go ahead.
Okay, question from Geraldine. I'm thinking of asking the universe questions through meditation around purpose. In normal state, I often get a busy mind. I seem to have hit a wall. Used to get intuitive messages, not so much now.
Okay, so the universe is you. But so at this point in time, I would say, connect with your heart. So do the process. I've shared this process several times now, where, you can close your eyes, focus on the breath and so forth, and call in your soul. So soul, fully embody, and align with the body, human entity, and also the mind. Fully embody, activate home frequency. Then you can easily say at that point in time, I activate the highest version of myself, accessing the highest source essence within myself with full alignment, mind, soul, human entity, body. Okay? Once you've done that, you now ask, okay, what is my current direction for my life? Or what is my current purpose? Because your purpose is changing. We don't come here with one purpose only. We come with an established setup which actually expands accordingly to what serves not only personally with all the interconnections and souls that you made agreements with, but also the collective of the global playground. Okay? So if the mind comes busy, acknowledge it, thank it, love it, put it into the field. Thank you, ego, we're not going there, because that's the only part that's going to be making all the additional chatter. And just put your attention back to the focus. It's not about wrestling it. It's always shifting your attention just to the breath. Spend time until you get to the quiet mind. Then what I suggest is, like I said, you call in your soul, fully embody, activate. I don't have to repeat it, but just activate all parts of it. And then when you're there, you can ask yourself. But first and foremost, after you've done so, write all that stuff down. Because the soul is only going to share it with you. Your higher self is going to share it with you. You're going to write it down. And then after you wrote it down, you're going to look at it. How can I activate? How much can I use? What are my steps to bring that into alignment?
No, nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Being clear and uncluttered makes optimal use of our creative abilities to transform ourselves and the world profoundly. Uncluttering. Uncluttering meaning, what are you putting your focus on? How many things are you trying to do? How many things are you trying to maintain involvement in that may not serve you any longer? Or that you may have to reduce and put more focus on something else? Being clear is that you're not involving yourself with everything that's playing out on the planet. Oh, this is happening there, that's happening there, this is happening with my family, whatever it is. Getting to a clear state, allowing everything to be wherever your attention needs to be, because there's kind of a feel for that direction, then you will direct yourself to there, but it's all temporary. It's like drop-ins when necessary. But the thing is, the uncluttering is do less and be more focused on what you do that are most resonant for you, what is most guided for you, because that's how it feels best guided for you. And then don't get hooked to it and don't get all wrapped up, and that's the way it has to be, and continue because that's my new direction. You always are checking in to see how much time you spend there, how much effort you change. So if you're going from one to the other, you may spend a little bit more time to that, and then it may go somewhere else and somewhere. So you need to be fluid and flexible in all parts of it. So Being clear is in the sense of clearing yourself so that you can see everything that you're focusing on and not to carry additional burden. So of course you're clearing stuff out anyways. Uncluttered meaning paying attention to where are you putting all your energies, times, and involvement with others and so forth to make ultimate use of your creative abilities. If you're so busy trying to survive, so busy trying to take care of everybody's lives, so busy to be active as possible, your creativity is going to be all wrapped up in what you're involved in because you're not allowing time for yourself to be able to tap into that. And once you've done that, then you can transform yourselves and the world profoundly. Am I making too many messes here? Yeah. Okay. It's important to note that we are constructing and designing how our new world will look and operate. It's not coming from outside of us. We are directly active. Yes, there's many facets of us that are working together. All of us are involved in one way or another. There's no one not involved. If you were not involved, you wouldn't be here. If you're not involved, you wouldn't even have any connections to being here or connections with others that are here. But you are here, so you're involved. You're involved in the creation, recreating and bringing that template within yourself. That's why it's important for that part of your reality to come in place. See, I'm not even making a mess on board here. Oops. So that's yes, I'm going to go a lot faster. So now I'm going to cover what the workshop points are. I know Kimberly's rolling her eyes, rolling on the floor right now, and well, she's smiling anyways. Okay, so I wanted to cover what we're going to do at the workshop, and I'm going to go really fast. You don't believe me, right? No, of course not. Okay, so we're going to do a process, accessing your true power state. That means connecting with that source essence to be able to harness and access that. Even though it's there, we're always shifting away from it. We're going to access it. We're going to tune into it in a very, 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 very powerful way of that way. So we're going to do a process together. And we're talking about going into the present moment in a very powerful way where we are fully present with our fullest capacities, non-reflective of anything that we've experienced before. We can be in a moment and not be there. But this is the moment of your most current state and accessing your power point. Okay? That's in the workshop. Everything is within you and you are everything. We're going to play with that. We're going to look at, because you are everything. You are that very world that exists. As much as you have many facets of yourself, you're still everything. So everything is already in you, and it's just expanding. And as it's coming out, it's actually upgrading anyways. So there's a dance of feedback back and forth, and you're going to experience that. We're going to play with a lot of that. So I'm just going to elaborate as we go through it. Okay? Stepping out of our conditioned state. That's challenging for a lot of people. Stepping out of our patterns, our conditioned state. We've all been conditioned to one degree or another, which all served, all was cool, everything was an amazing experience. But what are we doing? We're going to step out of that conditioned state. So you now are opening yourself to even further. Conditioned to what we consume. A lot of us are being conditioned to what we put our time in, what we drink, what we eat, what we involve ourselves with others. For example, the media, whatever we're putting our time, effort, energy in, we are looking at conditioned to what we consume and looking at how we can work out of that. Stepping out of the meaningless stuff. Everything is meaningful. But it becomes meaningless because it no longer matches who you're becoming. It's your old construct. So it's a matter of stepping out of what is meaningless to you, meaning it no longer has the same value of where you're at. And by letting go of the stuff that's now meaningless, may have been meaningful before, but what's meaningless now allows you to focus on what is more meaningful to the you that you are. Does that make any sense, Miss Kimberly? Yeah. Okay. When we pay attention to what the media, even the alternative media, and what others share, we reduce our state. We reduce our possibilities, we reduce our vibration, we reduce our options, we reduce even accessing our imagination in the sense of seeing outside of what already exists. Because what happens? We're receiving a steady conditioning pattern, a reinforcement of the old world, the reinforcement of this is the steps you need to take, and it's very difficult to change. Go ahead.
Just want to clarify that's in regards to what's going on in the planet. Like,
yes.
What others share. It doesn't mean, you know, your favorite person you like to listen to, that you get inspired by. We're not talking about that kind of thing. We're talking about, you know, all the stuff going on and all the different theories and narratives of, you know, that kind of thing.
Yes. Okay. So it's what we're exposing ourselves that is a reflection of the old world, because there are people that are sharing, like what you're hearing now, that are sharing not only different tools, different opportunities, whatever information that is triggering your own memory so that you actually be able to shift into that. So when I say alternative, a lot of the alternative media in the news and whatever else is still polarized. Yeah, maybe they're looking at the other side instead of trying to keep you close, but they're still seeing good, bad, right, wrong. So as long as we're saying, oh, I'm going to be the light bearer now and I'm going to fight the dark, that again is causing not only a distraction and still emphasizing a polarity, and that doesn't serve in the most effective way. Maybe a little visit of it, whatever that may look like temporarily, but really the fact is, from a higher perspective, you see the whole dance and you merge the whole dance, so it's no longer light, dark, whatever it is that we've given a lot of power to. It's basically a holistic spectrum, which is all upgrading anyways. Distractions interfere with our creator state. As long as we're distracted, as long as we're not putting our focus on our creator state. We're powerful creators, and we're always creating. We're creating and manifesting. Manifesting is creating what. Manifesting is bringing a duplication of what already exists. Creation is pure new, using higher consciousness, something that hasn't been experienced yet and that we're plugging in. So the thing is, as long as we're distracted, we're going to have opportunities to reduce our access of our creative ability. We're just going to continue creating the same. Go ahead.
Okay, Olga was asking, can we still have a glass of wine and don't disturb new coming frequency?
Well, you have to understand, and this is not only coming from me, there are people that actually have monitored the frequency of different beverages and food. Okay? You got to pay attention to it when you have the glass of wine, because the glass of wine or any other alcohol, they call it a spirit for a reason. It's in our face. What it does is lowers our frequency and makes us in a position where other energies of a lower vibration will have some form of effect. Now, yes, you can say, well, I'm going to have a glass of wine and really enjoy it and be in a state where I'm going to hold a very high frequency. Regardless, it's going to lower your frequency to a degree, but how much you immerse yourself in the wine, in the sense of meaning that you allow the wine to take over or take a bigger effect, it will lower your energy. All types of alcohol, product of decomposition, because that's what it is, of all of those will lower your vibration at this point in time. So will it affect the energies coming in? It will dwarf it in one way or another. So pay attention to it. You can experiment. You can do a few days without having any wine and see how you feel. The energies, see how you feel. And then other times that you do have the wine and see. That's up to you. But it does affect To what degree will depend on your frequency. But again, it's like this. There's you. My non-artist. This one has glasses. You're going to have the frequencies coming in, but then what you're ingesting is also allowing another frequency to come in. So what happens is that it does create a blend, and within that blend, it can reduce the capacity of the higher. But it, again, how much of this is allowed, which is, say, the lower to the higher. Does that make sense to you? Okay, great. Writing out what you envision your reality to be. This is a really good exercise. I know Kimberly does this all the time. Is writing out your vision of how you see it. It's powerful to envision it and then to write out the envision. So you're basically writing out a map, and you could do drawings too of what that reality looks like. It's like you're writing a novel, in a sense, or a story of the world that's within you. When you're doing that, the exercise of not only because you've envisioned it, because you're writing it, which you have the option to share with others, which is a good idea to do if you do feel conducive to do so. But even if you're not, you write it out for yourself. It becomes more crystallized, more powerful when you write it out, and then especially if you reread it time to time and add more to it, you will see the vision will expand. Your reality will expand. It's like you're building the earth step by step. You're building your reality step by step. So you write everything that comes to you, and then as you read it and as you're experiencing, you add more to it. So what you're doing is you're mapping out more profoundly your new reality. Not focusing on the old creation personally or collectively. So again, shifting away from looking at what you associated as a way of life. Could be certain individuals, could be certain clusters, could be certain interpretation, perceptions, and so forth that you've adopted in your life, and including what we were talking about, labels and so forth. Accessing source spirit essence. So what is source spirit? There's source and there's source spirit. Source spirit is the part that actually is active in creation, active in observing creation, active and constantly expanding. And the source part that is that's the base of the spirit, the active part, the part that is the field that holds everything. So within the field, the spirit of creation was created. So we're going to do a process around that. All right. There is more to access now than we've had before. Paying attention and staying focused is very instrumental. So there's much more input coming in from every facet of yourself. And I won't get into the details. That will be more involved in the workshop, and we'll do some practicing, playing with that. Basically focusing with what access your body's providing, your human entity is providing, your soul is providing, all the other playmates are providing, Gaia is providing, all of these things. So it's a matter of all of that is now more accessible, and it's about paying attention and staying focused with that without getting caught up in all the other stuff that was the old construct. I know sometimes you say, well, no, this is the way the world is. Yes, absolutely. We've adopted it, we utilized it, we built around it, whatever it is. But the thing is, that world doesn't match us anymore. That world does not apply for us anymore. This is the new world that we're going into. That new world that we're talking about here, okay, is what we're rolling out, unfolding, opening up, unpacking, whatever you want to call it. Accessing joy, which is our true state. I know we talk about happiness, which is the polarity of sadness, and so forth. But joy. Joy is excitement, essence of your sourceness. You are joy and you are love. Both are creation. So love creates, joy revels in the creation. Joy is the excitement and the feedback from your creation, from the freedom of creation, the, enjoying the creation itself, really growing from it. So we'll be doing some playing with that. Being your higher essence and accessing your loving creator state. We'll be doing a process around that. Okay? So being your higher essence. We're already higher essence. It's just basically being your higher essence and accessing that loving creator, because your creator aspect is love. Observing the inverted game without attachments, collecting your fragment self, and we'll be doing a process with that. So observing the inverted game without getting attached to it. In fact, going into an empowered state to see the game in reverse and being, wow, what a marvel. It's like you're sitting in the movie theater and watching everything that's around in that inverted and having not only an appreciation for it and seeing how you can now shift that along or, change the role players, change every part of it. And that's where we go into that. And then collecting your fragmented self. As much as the fragmentation is an illusionation, is that a good word? Yeah. We'll make that. Is an illusion, what we call an illusionation, what I call illusionation. That illusionation, or that illusion that we've given power to it, we dissolve the power we give to it and see ourselves as one with all parts of it. So it's basically collecting our fragmented self. It's bringing alignment and bringing all parts of ourselves. So collecting the fragment self, that's the product. Yeah, that's the double. Just double-lated. And that's a new word, double-lated. All right. I know, making a mess. All right. So, letting go of any emotional charges or cords attached to the world outside of you. A lot of us have a lot of attachments, a lot of invested energies, and feeling that, because I played that game owns me, controls me, I can't let it go. So we're going to be playing with a little bit, letting go any emotional charges, because a lot of us have applied a lot of emotional charges within it. Could be fear, could fear the emotion of survival, the emotion of, oh my God, if it changes, I won't have any control. If it changes in one way or another, I won't be able to function, that in some way that I'm not going to be able to survive or anything of that nature. A lot of associated stuff. So we'll play that. We're also shifting away from fear. So we'll do a process of shifting away from fear. Fear has a very powerful control factor to it. And many of us that have experienced fear and are still experiencing any form of fear, could have been really elevated or lower, notice that it actually dictates how we respond, how we see things, what choices we make, what actions we take, and so forth. And in fact, it actually limits us in a very powerful way. The difference between co-creating and having the expectations of others creating for you. And we've talked about it. We co-create, yes. What is co-creation? Okay? It's where you are creating. And now you are co-creating with other aspects of yourself. And the reason you're bringing because they're bringing their twist, their perception, which is still a facet of you, that you're now creating a much more elaborate, blended creation, and a creation that gives you more variance, more viewpoints than just having one viewpoint. And that's why co-creation comes in, because, and plus it also helps, in this case, for all of our aspects to be engaged in it. But even the difference between the co-creating and having expectations for others to create for you. Because a lot of times we feel that others create our reality. Our parents created our reality. Our partners created our reality. Our kids created our reality. Our siblings, whoever. Your work environment created your reality. As much as you're entering already a construct of a reality, the fact that you're entering it, you have the access to work with it, shift it. Stepping into your own authority, a lot of people feel that they have no authority over their lives, that other people, either some deity has control over them, some authority has a control over them, other partnerships, friendships, or whoever has authority. But we're going to look at stepping into your own authority, your own self-empowered state, because you are your own authority. No one could ever bridge and take over your authority in any way, shape, or form. What really ends up happening with that is that, in fact, what we're doing is we're allowing what looks like authority. So we're basically giving our authority to another aspect of us to be reflected to us, so that we are actually feeling that somebody else has power over you. Getting on track with your own path. A lot of other people, all of us in one way or another, get entangled with others, and we feel that we have to follow others, that we have to be in their footsteps, that we have to play the game because they're playing the game a certain way, or feeling that in some way or another, because if we're not going to play together, that somehow we're not going to, I'm going to lose something out or anything of that nature. Because a lot of us get lost on our own path and use the outside world to reflect it, use others to kind of dictate what our path is supposed to look like. So we're going to look at connecting with your own path. Oh, look at that. We're almost there, girl.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Okay. And you were getting all excited. All right. Tuning into your higher self and viewing the current reality. So we'll be doing a process around that, tuning into your higher self. So basically what happens is we see the world. Most of the time, right now, when we're looking at the world, we're looking at it through the eyes of the ego. We're looking at it through the eyes of what? Programs, belief systems, perceptions, molded filters and ideas. Some of it are done through clusters, meaning religious clusters, what do you call it? I just lost it. What's that?
Brain fart.
Oh yeah, I have a brain fart. Well, different clusters. Being clusters in your gender, clusters in your, whatever you call it. I can't think of the name right now. But if we're looking at through our conditioning filters and automatic response and patterns, it looks very different. But then when we do the exercise, in which we're going to do, we're going to look at through the eyes of the higher self, the eyes of your soul, the eyes of all aspects of the combined higher self. You will see the world will look very different. You will see the reality that we're faced with or playing out around us is going to be very different. Collaboration and community and finding your tribe. This is Kimberly's specialty. She will be playing with that. She's going to step up here and talk about that. She never comes in front of the camera. She always hides over there. She makes all the funny faces to me and giving me the signs saying too fast, too slow, speed it up, get moving on. Okay, so we're going to look at collaboration, community, and finding your tribe. I know you don't like my scribbling. Okay, can you see? Can you see now? There you go. I know we had somebody else who complained that I make a big mess on the board and it's hard to tell. I get excited with these little marker thingies. Even though there's no marking, but the screen shows it as that. Okay, so we're going to look at the power of collaboration, community, and finding our tribe. What is our tribe? Really, our tribe's always changing. Basically, are people that have like-minded, that are going to work together to play something out in the reality. Our tribe is the whole planet anyways, but we're going to have smaller tribes, smaller groups, and so forth. So right now, this is kind of a small group that we are doing. People all over the world are connecting with this information that we're sharing, with this opportunity, and we're going to do a lot more of it, more intimately in a sense, during the workshop. So we're going to look at that. Incorporating our vision without impairing others, okay, which is stuff that we talked about. So putting our envision without impairing others. So basically, you're not interfering with other people. You're going to allow people to have their own experience. You're not going to have any conditions, expectations, or anything about nature, but you're going to live it to your terms. You're going to be yourself, in a sense, by using your own vision to shape your reality, and then the alignments will occur as they're ready. And if there isn't alignments, you will still live within your own vision without affecting others in the sense of forcefully. It's always, you're going to affect them because you're going to, first of all, not give them the instructions to play the old game. You're also creating an energetic field that will allow them to shift from the old game to the new reality. But at the same time, you're not also going into that state, how can I say? Boy, I'm having a lot of, well, let's say conditioning of expecting them to align a certain way. You still allow them the freedom. And it's the same way with whoever you interact with. They're living their reality and you're allowing them, they're allowing you to play your reality. And then from there, what ends up happening is that there's a beautiful dance that is established. Can others influence and limit your, can others influence and limit our personal creations, like partners, children, friends? Most certainly, if we choose to do so. If you're going to give attention and power to a particular individual, say your partner, your children, your friends, and your family, you're the one that plugs in what looks like a limit. So you can see it, what looks like a limit, and it will shape and be influential to some degree or another in your own personal creation. So you could say, well, you know, I got to keep them in my life a certain way because, you know, that's who they are and that's where they're going. So if you're going to plug that in as part of your reality creation, then there's going to be a certain fact. And just keep in mind, it will limit you how far you go out of, you know, the box. So you have to understand, every time you're in a partnership or so forth, that you're in a parameter of play with all the playmates within it. So you got all the playmates within it. But at the same time, as you go outside of that, you know, you take this part out and you're stepping out of the box, then, you know, it's not going to influence you any longer because you're not in there. But at the same time, as you're doing your thing, it allows the boxes to either expand because they're ready for more expanded, or eventually it will dissolve all of it. Okay. So one of the tough things that people deal with is cutting attachments. Attachments to others, attachments to ways of life, but really attachments to others, the entanglement that we have set up. Letting go of people who are tethered to us. So we're going to be doing a process that. Tethered meaning that they're harnessing your energy, your time, your focus, your reality. The thing is, you don't want anybody to tether. You want people to gravitate because you're freely expanding yourself, but you don't want to have the anchors because the thing is, as long as you're tethered, as long as they're attached to you, every time you want to take a huge leap, they're going to hold back because at this point in time, they may not be ready for the leap. So the point is for you to take the leap, and then they'll feel the difference and maybe even see the void, and then they'll be more stimulated to move towards where you're at if they're ready for that. So we're going to be doing a process for that. This is going to be a really awesome workshop. Kimberly, are you going to attend?
Yeah, I may show up.
You may show up. If you're going to show up, I might show up too. So we may show up, guys. experiencing our creative abilities. We'll do a little process around that. Maybe 2 days is not going to be enough, or we have to put on roller skates for this because there's a lot there. But the thing is, this workshop, and of course the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do a meditation activation to lock in the work. This is a guided meditation. We're going to be harnessing each other's energies, and we're going to bring in the higher energies, and I'm going to be working with you, including Kimberly on the side there, using her energies. Also, we're really creating a beautiful, powerful cluster. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through this activational process to lock in everything that we get to do on the 20th and 21st of March. The beautiful process and game that we're going to play together at the workshop. So this workshop is the next level of the last one that we did. Okay? It's going to be lots of processes that we will be doing together. It's to establish a pattern for us to be able to use the tools to use it. Of course, each workshop builds up on the energies of whatever's going on in the stages that we're on. So this is going to be the most current. We were intending to do it in January. Then we were intending to do it in February. And of course, it ended up in March. So even the January, I think, was only iffy because I don't think we were at the state that we were ready for this phase of it on a collective scale. And then there was a lot of polarized stuff that needed to happen and a lot of energies that needed to move through to get us to that point. So, of course, if you notice, we're doing it on the 20th and 21st, the 21st being a spring solstice. And that we'll be harnessing a very powerful energy that's coming in for the spring solstice. There's going to be a lot of energies moving through until the 20th to further prepare us. So we'll be much more prepared, much more tuned to be able to do the workshop in a very powerful way by the time it comes in. So mark on your calendar. March 20th, and Kimberly's going to put up the thing shortly. 21st, and that's where we'll be doing. Go ahead, you had a question.
Yeah, quick question. Let me find it first here. Melissa's asking, could this help in moving beyond behavioral addictions like bulimia, etc.? This workshop, I'm assuming that's what she's talking about.
Yes. If you're ready to let that part go, yes. It's about any limitations, any patterns, any addictions that we have. It's your choice. These tools, and the thing is, you come to the workshop, we do a lot together, but if you're going to attend live, which is, the best, but it's not the only option, you will go through it together when we're doing it. Of course, we're locking in the energies in the video and audio recording anyway, so anybody that repeats it or gets to observe it later will also get an impact. It's always a little bit different than being fully present at the time, but it's not too far off from it saying, well, there's no value. There is value, extreme value. But the processes that we will do, it's required for you to re-experience it. This is why if you attend live, you will get a video and audio recording of the workshop broken down in different categories. And if you cannot attend, you can access the video and audio recordings because that will be made available too. Go ahead.
Or you can just purchase the audio and video recordings and not purchase the other one. Whatever way you can have it. And also someone asked if you had to participate in previous workshops, and no, you do not. This is perfect for right now, and for whoever wants to come and make your donation, whatever it is. Don't get worried about the price. If it's an issue, just donate what feels good to you to donate, and just show up.
Yes. So I think the recommended, how much is the recommendation for the live stream with the audio?
For the live stream, I think it's 127, and for the live stream it's
Yeah.
185, and for the recordings I think it's 127.
Okay, those are the recommended amounts. However, you offer what you can or what you feel you're capable to do so. So there's no restrictions to the amount. So you can go lower for sure, and you can go higher if you want to. The fee is an investment in yourself, but at the same time, it also supports our work and our time. I mean, this is all we do. We put a lot of energy, a lot of time to not only the workshops, but all the series that we're doing and so forth. So it's only financial resources we have, not only to support ourselves, but all the platforms that we have out there that to share the content and so forth. We do not shy on what we provide. You know, some people have said to me, well, you know, the content is worth a lot because it's very life transforming and there's a lot of content. But I don't look at it that way. To me, it's a great service to work with everybody that is ready to utilize this to advance you, because as you're advancing, we're advancing collectively. And right now, the key is to move forward in a powerful way. And it's not about escaping what you're experiencing. It's about having a deeper understanding to use the tools to really bring forth what's waiting for you to come through you at this point in time. Now, once you've done this, there may be certain components that would be in the previous, what do you call it, the previous workshop. And the previous workshop is also available. There's a link for that too. Should you want to, the video and audio recordings are there on Teachable at this point in time. And
Are they still available on Eventbrite? The
just for a short while longer, yes.
Okay, because you could still, if you take advantage of the donation only, because once they go on Teachable, there is no way for people to just donate on that platform, so it has to be the regular price. So, yeah.
Yeah, it comes off at the end of the month. I know we have extended
End
it
of
a few-
March.
yeah,
Okay.
for the old
Okay.
version, and then this one here will probably be available a month after or so for the audio and video recordings. So we'll keep it open, but we'll have to provide you another link because we have to close the original link, unfortunately, and then provide another link to be able to order it. We're going to look into another service at some point at this, as we move forward. But so the invitation is to join us in this interactive workshop coming on the 20th and 21st. And can you put the banner up for that? Just, so this is the banner here, actualizing beyond your current state to live your new reality. And the actualizing is focused on the fact that we get to live it and experience it. We can see, we can go beyond any perceptions that we've had, because that's one of the things we had looked at the last workshop. But at the same time, we're going to actualize it, bring it into life, beyond our current state that we're in right now. And all of us, you know, the current state is not fixed. A lot of people are saying, you know, we're doomed or whatever it is because the way things look right now. But the beauty of this is to really see the empoweredness or empowered state that we are, that everything is just there for us to shift. And it does not depend on saviors. It does not depend on certain leaders or fictional leaders, because all of it is made up anyways, to change things. It's about us changing it, and we are becoming more primed to do so in a very powerful way. Okay, you can take that down. So in the link, and Kimberly's also going to put it in the comment section, the link for the event.
On YouTube, I didn't on the other one.
You didn't on the other one?
Not
And
yet.
if it's not
I'll
on,
do it now.
if it's not on immediately, we'll put it up anyways. But just the description alone, either on Facebook or YouTube and Vimeo, if you're on Vimeo. Not that we're streaming on Vimeo, we just put the recordings afterwards because we're trying to reduce the bandwidth. But at the same time, in the description, the link is there for you to be able to access the workshop. So we look forward to have you with us and really play in a powerful way. the time has come where we are coming together to do some amazing, amazing transformations. So until next time, go out and play. If you feel in resonance and like to support us in the series that we're doing, or even the podcast and whatever else, feel free to contribute. I thank everybody that has contributed. It doesn't matter what amount at this point in time. Some have been generous and some they're all generous. Doesn't matter if it's a cent or whatever. And we thank you. We appreciate it. We love you immensely for it. It gives us more opportunity to stay focused on doing the work that we're doing. I know that there's work that we are providing in not only the content, but the work we're also doing on the back end, which we're all involved to some degree or another. And then, of course, other content we put in with different shows and things of that nature that is all available for free. So, until next time, go out and play and have a blast. And we'll hope to see you on our next episode and also at the workshop.